Hello, this is Stefano Poli from INTECS, and in this session I'm going to show you how it's possible to apply a pattern to your system design. So it just comes with a library with the predefined pattern, but it's possible also to provide the new patterns. You can check the dedicated training session about pattern definition. So here I'm going to show you how it's possible to apply architectural pattern to a given system design. So let me just open a chess papyrus model, and where I will show you how it is possible to instantiate a given pattern. So just a very simple toy example here. So I have a system with a control block, and first of all, in order to use, for instance, the patterns coming with chess. We have to import this library of pattern in the current model. So it is possible to do this import here. So in the Model Explorer view, you have to right-click the root entity and select import registered package. Here you can select chess design patterns. Okay. Here you can select the chess pattern, and as a load choose the import action and press OK. And suppose that we want to apply a pattern in the context of our root system. So we want to decompose the system according to a pattern. For instance, we could have the possibility to make the system more reliable by using some redundancy mechanism regarding our control block. So suppose that we want to apply some redundancy pattern in order to improve, for instance, the reliability of the overall system. So by doing this, in order to do this, we have to choose the entities on which we want to apply the pattern. In this case, okay, we can apply it in the context of the root system. So I have to right-click the system block entity and select chess design pattern, select and apply design pattern. Okay, if this is empty, it means that the import action has not been correctly applied. So let me try to do it again. So import registered package, chess design patterns. Okay, perform the import again. Okay, and now let me try to reopen the pattern application wizard. So right-click on the block system entity and select apply design pattern. Okay, now I have the list of patterns imported from the chess library. Here you can see the information, for instance, for these two. And okay, selecting a pattern, you can check the information associated to the pattern to see if and you can navigate this information to see if a given pattern can be used for the specific goal. And you can also check obviously the assumption and the guarantees property of the pattern. Okay, suppose that you want to select this pattern because based upon the information here we have derived that this pattern can be useful in the context of this specific system. So I have to check, okay, here I also have a preview of the pattern, so I can have an idea of the entities that okay, play the parts of this collaboration. So basically, in this case, the triple modular redundancy pattern, I have 3 entities representing, for instance, the channel and one entity representing a voter. So we would like to apply this pattern to our architecture. So so I select apply, and here the wizard allows me to map the entity of the pattern to the entity eventually available in the model. So for instance, I have to map types. So basically the pattern defines 2 types, the channel and the voter, and I can say, okay, the type of the channel defined by the pattern is played by a given entity available in my model, my current model. So for instance, in this case, I can specify that the channel is performed by, in this case, by the control, and so I select the channel, I select the control here, and I push create mapping. Okay, in this way I have bound the entity or channel of the pattern to the entity control of my model. Okay, I can leave entity unbounded, as in this case. So I'm not bounding the voter to any entity of my system. So in this case, the voter as a type, as a component, will be created automatically in the system. Then I can proceed next. Now I have to map the ports. So the pattern comes with the set of ports for each entity, and I can map each port to a given port of my system. So in this case, okay, I select, for instance, channel out, and I map this port to the out port of the control, and I create mapping. I leave the other ports unbounded, so this port will be created. Next, I have to map the properties, so the instance. So before I have bounded the type, now I am in the context of my system A block, which owns a part of control. So it is decomposed by an instance of control. So in this case, I can, for instance, say that the channel 1 of the pattern is played by the current instance of control that I have inside the system A. I can create a mapping here, and in this case, I don't provide any bound for the other properties here defined for the pattern, so they will be created as well. Next, okay, this part regards the connection, the mapping of the connectors. So I could also, in theory, map connectors to defined by the partner to actual connectors available in my system architecture, but currently I don't have connectors, so I will leave these connectors unbounded, so this connector will be created. Then I press OK, and the application is performed. So if I now check here inside the system A block, I can see that the pattern application has been created with all the information about the information about the application of the pattern, so information about the entities of the system and the roles played by each of these entities for what regard the pattern. I can check now the new structure of my system block decomposition. So for this I can use create an internal block diagram automatically for this system. And now this is the new structure of my system block with the that comes out when I have applied the pattern. So basically I have my control which has been replicated, and now I have a new entity, the voter, that has been created. Now indeed I can the voter has been created here as new block. Also ports for the voter has been created, and the connector has been created as well. And each part here comes with the stereotype pattern rule that tells me about the patterns that is played by this part here, and the role on which the part is mapped to. And all this information about pattern application is, as I said, is stored in a model, and can be created and can be used in order to provide, for instance, in the assurance case, in order to provide some reasoning about the benefit that I've obtained by instantiating this pattern. And so this is about the application of the pattern that comes with the chess. If I want to say apply a pattern which is available in a dedicated project, like the one shown here, the one shown here. The only difference that I have when I import, I have to import this project which contains the definition of the pattern. The only difference between the only difference is that in this case I have to select import package from user model, and here I can select the model where I have defined the pattern. I have to choose, and from these steps, okay, the behavior is the same, so I have to import, and then I can choose the pattern by selecting the given root entity and by using the wizard that I've shown you before. So that's all for the pattern application, and thank you very much for your attention.